Welcome to the Jared Williams Show. Today we got Justin Deason, cool dude. I would give you an intro, but I feel like I don't know enough about you to give you a real intro. So
well, you now have my undivided attention and a microphone and cameras and lights.
I finally got you nailed down. Huh?
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. We podcast for 4 hours. I hope you're okay with that.
I'm ready. We're going to have more snacks, although you got a giant bin of candy over
I do
there.
have a giant bin of candy. What's funny is we bought that giant bin of candy. Everybody watching can't see it, but it's a giant bin of candy. We bought it for the home show. We filled that sucker with candy. It was like overflowing with candy. And we were the talk of the show.
I'm sure.
Yeah, people were coming by. We were giving them Dude Wash beer koozies and filling them with candy and handing them out. It was a pretty good one.
I will say marketing seems to be one of your knacks.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting there one of these days. So I've heard some of your story.
Mm-hmm.
We typically like to hear people's stories on this podcast. So I'm going to let you have at it. Tell me your story.
Oof. All right. You said we had 4 hours, right?
Yeah. And usually the guy who normally sits there, you met him, Joel. He used to be my podcast host. He tells really dumb jokes. So the audience kind of expects some really bad dad jokes if you got it.
Man, had I been prepared.
Yeah.
I've got some friends that have got some pretty good ones, but
We'll have to get them on the show then.
I don't. I'm fresh out.
That's all right. So I know you currently have a business in Atlanta, right?
I do. Mm-hmm.
And you had a business here. You're still kind of involved in it.
Yes, correct.
And I know you've had other businesses.
I have.
I don't know what they are. How did you, take me back? Tell me a little bit of your, upbringing.
Yeah.
And then how you got involved in running a home service business.
The short answer is by accident. But
Yeah.
But so if you and I are basically neighbors,
Yeah.
right? We found out through complete chance that we're like, oh crap, we live right down the road.
Yeah.
And, I grew up right down the road in Gulf Breeze, so right down here. Grew up, went to school there, and like most kids, now this place is paradise.
Yeah.
But like most kids, I could not wait to get out of here.
Yep.
So, which is funny because my son is in the Marines. He's 20 now, and my daughter's a senior in high school. And he was on that bus Monday after graduation to go to boot camp.
He couldn't wait to get out. Yeah. Was it wait to get out from dad or just out of Pensacola?
I think it was the rush to grow up.
Yeah.
That seems to be the nature of kids. Like you're just excited to grow up. You're excited for what the next chapter looks like.
Go to work and make money. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, whatever. But I did the same thing. So I left here and I went to Atlanta and I was playing baseball and I wasn't really sure what that was going to look like. And I had an opportunity to go to California to play. Mm-hmm. Well, in the meantime, there was a summer I was going to go spend in Atlanta. And during that summer, I met my wife. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I went, I'm 5'6".
Yeah.
The chances of me being making a real run at baseball.
Like college baseball?
I was playing college, yeah. But I was going out there because I was going to try to really play.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. I was like, I need money. So
Yep.
I actually met her at a place she worked, which was a pet store. Saw her. She wouldn't really talk to me. So I went and got a job there.
Nice.
And when I got a job there, I'm like, tell the manager, hey, I want to work with her.
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely, I just wore down.
That's that entrepreneurship.
I know.
Right.
I was selling, baby. I was selling.
Yeah. That's funny.
So yeah. So we started dating, and the entrepreneurial bug hit me pretty quick. I mean, I've had literally one job my whole life. One, I call it an adult job, one that you have a laptop and a business card. I'd say cell phone, but I guess technically back then they were we had those flip Nextels.
Yep.
Toot, toot, toot. And so, it kind of hit me on what I wanted to do. I had already gotten involved in buying real estate really young. 19, I bought my first house. And then it was we started buying, kind of figured out a loophole and how to buy properties. And one of my best friends at the time had a good idea. He said, what we should do? We should move back to Pensacola and we should open a restaurant.
That sounds like a great idea.
I was about 21 at this time. I was on a really good track, and I thought, Well, who doesn't want to own a bar at 21?
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yep.
So we moved down here and did that. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. But yeah, so then, so I actually ended up selling my half of the business to him. We went back to Atlanta. At this point, I was right about to get married. And I was like, that's probably not the best.
You're how old?
At this point, probably 21.
Okay.
Maybe 22, somewhere in that range.
22 starting a restaurant.
No, I was 21 when we started the restaurant.
Cool.
Yeah.
What was it?
It was a pizza restaurant, actually right down the road from here.
Is it still? No.
No, it's like an Indian place now.
Oh,
Or something.
gotcha.
This whole place looks different than way back those years ago.
Why a pizza restaurant? Was there any reason?
We had a friend that owned a pizza place in Atlanta, and we liked hanging out there. There wasn't really anything like that here, that New York style. We thought this is gonna be a big hit down here. So, which it was busy. Like we were busy all the time, but the truth is we didn't know what we were doing.
Yep.
So we didn't know what KPIs were. We didn't know what cost of goods sold were. We didn't know any of those things. So, to us, we were at that point, because, whatever. We were at that point where we thought busy was profitable.
Yeah.
So, I can remember the first day we opened the doors. We opened the doors at 10:30, and I remember standing there like, is anybody going to show up? And by 11 and then 12, like it was busy.
Yeah.
So it was a good thing, but we really just didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to price things or how to set menus.
Yep.
A lot of the things we see in the home service space now, we went, hey, what are the guys next door charging for a Coke? Oh, yeah, we'll charge that. Or, hey, what are they charging for a slice of pizza? We'll charge that too.
No matter what they pay for it versus what you pay for it.
Well, we didn't even, we just thought everybody paid the same thing. Like, of course they all pay the same. No, they don't pay the same thing.
Yep.
So once I left there, Chris and I went, okay, now we have to really start adulting. And I got to figure out what the real world is going to look like. And we moved to Atlanta, and I moved to Atlanta, and it's funny because I went to buy a grill.
Yep.
Of all things, because I bought a new house. I'm like, at this point, Kristen's pregnant. I'm like, I got to get in dad mode. I got to get a grill, and I buy this grill, and I was asking them about putting it in because I didn't have a truck, and they didn't have anybody to put it in. It's a pretty expensive grill, so I started delivering grills.
Yep.
And then that turned into cleaning grills.
Yep.
And then that turned into messing with gas lines a little bit.
How did it turn into cleaning grills?
People would ask. They'd like, hey, do you guys clean grills? We do. I was an entrepreneur. They could have asked anything, right? They're like, do you run gas line? Yes, we do.
We do.
Do you do underground dog fence? We do that too, right? My business card would have said everything. And again, I was, I was young. I had so much energy, so much excitement for the future.
Yep.
One of the things when I was about 18, I had a mentor that gave me a couple of books on tape. Mm-hmm. And, Zig Ziglar. Mm-hmm. I got a Zig Ziglar book and Dale Carnegie.
Oh, yeah.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah,
and
that's a good
so
one.
at 18, I was starting to learn. I was starting to really lean into that part of it, which is funny because I was a terrible student. I didn't like school, wasn't that good.
Yep.
I knew what I had to do to be eligible for sports. That's it.
Yep.
I could do that math.
Yep.
What do I do to be eligible? Okay, I'll do that. So that slowly, that actually quickly turned into, I was standing in a Lowe's. Again, remember, I was entrepreneur. Yes, I was the yes man. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Like Bob the Builder.
Yep.
I was standing in a Lowe's one day, and I was trying to put this fittings together. And a guy next to me says, he asked me a question as if I knew. I looked like I knew I had a shirt on.
Yeah.
With a logo.
Yep.
The guy was looking bona fide. And I helped him solve the problem. And it just so happened there was a guy behind me that worked for Lowe's. And his job was to go find people to be vendors. Huh. And he said, hey, do you do this for a living? Absolutely. I got a company.
What year is it at this point?
This is probably 2001 maybe?
2001. Okay.
Maybe 2000, 2001, 2002, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
So so he goes, hey, you want to go back to my office? So we go back to his office, and he said, I'm looking for somebody to install dishwashers. Now, keep in mind, grills and cleaning grills, but my motto was, yep.
Yes.
So I came home, and I told Kristen, I said, hey, guess what? I've got a contract. Because, the guy asked me, he's like, well, can you guys put in dishwashers? Yeah, my guys can put them in. By the way, I don't have any guys.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, I was a guy, and I'm not that handy of a guy either. So
was YouTube a thing back then?
No, there wasn't even. I don't think there was. If there was Google, that was the very, very beginning of Google, where it was still. No, there was no.
Yeah.
Great YouTube.
I didn't graduate high school till 2004, and Google came along basically when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I had none of that.
It was still like the competition between Google and Yahoo at that point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see who won that battle?
Yeah. Yeah. That's an obvious one now. Yeah.
So I go back there, and the guy's like, I need somebody to install dishwashers and gas appliances. Well, obviously I was putting a gas fitting together. I know everything about gas.
Yeah.
So let's do that. And I came home, and I told Kristen, I said, great, we got this contract. We're doing these installs for Lowe's. She said, well, you don't know how to put in a dishwasher. I was like, that feels like a minor problem. I can solve that one. And so I thought, what a good opportunity. My wife wants a new dishwasher. I'll go get one. I'll come back. I'll put it in.
There you go.
8 hours later, that dishwasher was crooked and leaked.
Nice.
And my wife's like, you're not going to make any money. And at this point, I don't remember exactly what we got paid for it, but it was not very much. I was like, no, I'm gonna figure it out. Like I'm gonna figure it out. I know what it's gonna look like. I'm gonna figure it out.
When you say not very much,
probably $60.
okay.
Yeah, so 10 hours.
So
now I don't know what minimum wage is.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is now, and I don't know what it was then. But I'm guessing I was probably going to be below, because then I still had all my expenses.
Yep.
Of running the business too, and so it just so happened that I met a guy. I met a guy in the rain during like a Christmas holiday who was throwing trash away behind one of the stores, and I said, hey, did you put in an appliance? Yeah, because they had a couple of people that did this. Mm-hmm. And so I basically standing behind there, I said, dude, can I go buy you some beers and we like talk? And he said, let's go. Nice. That guy is still on the team, still runs that business today.
Nice.
Yeah. So
First employee?
I might have had one. No, I had one or two before that, but they were your typical employees that like to work for small business because they know you don't know what the heck they're doing.
Yep.
Kind of. Because even back then, like we didn't have GPS.
Right.
I mean, guys would take 5 days to put in one dishwasher.
Maps?
No, man. We would print off on MapQuest.
Yeah.
And then map books. You have map books for the older guys. So
yep.
But yeah, that kind of started the journey of on the appliance side. And what I figured out is once his name's Todd, super amazing guy. He's still on the team. I let him do what he did best, which is run the field. And then I was able to focus on what does the business look like?
Yep.
Most people, when they hear about big box retailer, like they cringe. They're like, you can't make any money doing that. And the truth is you can't make any money doing that if you're doing it the same way you do any other business.
Right.
It's a different business model.
Right.
So what it forced me to do is get really, really good at systems and organization because I knew that I couldn't go fix it. Like clearly I couldn't go out and physically do it. And even if I could, I'm not going to make any money with just me going and doing it. But when I have 10, 12 guys doing it, now I'm starting to make money.
And prices are so low. You got to be.
Well, once I got a handle on the market and started to understand what was going on and started to a little bit understand my business, now I was able to go back and start leveraging and negotiating pricing.
Gotcha.
Because at this point, we're taking over more stores, we're putting a bigger toehold on this whole thing, and now I feel like I'm in the spot where I can go in and start saying, no, look at our reviews, look at our score, look how good we do. This is what we need to do to make money and be profitable.
Gotcha.
Still wasn't fantastic, but it was better.
Yeah.
So then with that too, I also put all the guys on performance pay, which was another game changer.
Oh yeah.
Because now, like if you come to work and you're not prepared, or somebody steals your dolly out of the back of your truck because you leave it there, or you forgot your screwdriver, or you left it at the house before, it becomes your problem and your accountability, not mine.
Yep.
So that was nice, but we grew it and we grew it fast, and too fast. We ended up having 8 locations in just a couple of years. At one point, I think we had about 100 or 150 employees.
Dang.
Yeah. I might have been 28 at that point.
Dang.
And I was like on the verge of heart attack and ready to I was not in a good spot.
Yep.
My kids were young. And my wife, she's been on the show before. So luckily, my wife is an accountant by trade.
Yeah.
And so she started.
Was she at that point?
She had gotten out of school and she was kind of doing some of that stuff.
Gotcha.
But not home. Home service accounting is different than corporate accounting,
Right.
and there's just a different way to look at it. And so, luckily, she would start helping and working on things, and it finally got to the point where I was so stressed out. I came home one day and I said, I made a declaration. We're moving. We're moving. She's like, where are we going? I'm like, back home, back to the beach.
Yep.
Let's go. And for me, I thought, the truth is, if I move and the whole thing implodes, I didn't do it right.
Yeah.
So, like, if it needs me at all, I have not built a business. I've built a job, and quite frankly, this job sucks. I didn't like it.
Yeah. Especially with 150 employees.
Yeah. Well, and at this point, I really, shortly thereafter that, I started to shrink it down. I started to understand my numbers, and I started to understand what markets were profitable and where we were making money and where I had good leadership and where I had good team. And I started to just funnel it down to just those.
Gotcha.
And the branches and the areas that weren't making money, I
just cut them out.
Yep. Well, then I moved back here and I had a couple of years of semi-retirement. Mm-hmm. So, the trick with entrepreneurs is a bored entrepreneur is not a good thing. It's a scary thing.
No, I know that too well.
Right? It's like you get in so much trouble. You buy a bunch of businesses that you don't know anything about or whatever. I mean, there's a number of reasons.
You start a pressure washing business.
Business that dominates our area already in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Kudos to you and your team for that.
Yeah, we're getting there. I don't know if dominate is the right word. Maybe we dominate the market.
I could not name another pressure washing company in this area.
What's funny is I've had so I put out a job ad and I literally got 150 applicants. And I was like, holy crap. And I asked them all, I was like, can you name another pressure washing company in town? And they were all like,
Billy Bob's.
Nope.
Yeah.
And I was like, exactly.
No, I've never seen a billboard.
Nope.
I've never seen a truck.
Nope.
Wrapped with all that. So
nope. Yep.
I would use the word dominate. You're good to use it.
Give it enough time. We'll dominate financially.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
So when you say, because a lot of people love performance pay, it's a hot topic.
Yeah.
When you did it in your Atlanta business, how was that structured?
So what I did, so you got to keep in mind, in this business, we only had the labor portion, not the labor and materials. So when I say that,
you don't sell any materials.
We're not selling any materials.
Because Lowe's and Home Depot are providing those.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's just the labor.
Yeah.
So what we did was they got 50% of whatever they generated.
So your only cog is labor.
My only cog at that point is labor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then did you give them the vehicle and the gas and all that?
Nope.
Or were they like a subcontractor?
They were all 1099.
All 1099.
Every one of them. Yep.
Cool.
So at first they weren't, but then mathematically there was no way to make it work and do all the things. And if I say avatar, I don't know if your audience knows what that means, but your avatar is like the person you're looking for, whatever that perfect fit. And I really started trying to figure out who is the perfect avatar for what I'm looking for. And
as far as customer?
No, as far as employee, team members. Like what employee avatar do I want? Because it's not someone who wants the opportunity to grow big.
Yeah.
It's not somebody who needs benefits and 401k because I'm not providing those things. So I started to kind of dial in what that avatar was. And really the avatar was somebody who worked hard and then wanted to go home.
Yeah.
They didn't need all the whatever and whatever. So so that was kind of how it started, how it built, was that part of it. When I got here, that answer your question before I was going to move on. But
I like that. I like I kind of have an idea who I should be hiring, but I should probably nail that down on paper.
So you and I, before this, I was telling you about a hiring seminar program that I've built that has been one of those things that I've built and I've used it and I've had clients that have used it and had great success, but I will show it to you. And I promise you'll be able to find them.
Cool. Yeah.
To be continued.
I'm interested.
Yeah. To be continued.
Cool.
So once I found that avatar, I mean, a lot of those guys have worked for me for 15, 16 years now. same thing. They get up, they know what their route is. They want to be home by 2:00 and they move on with their lives.
Is that weird to you? Because
it's not anymore. It was at a younger age. That was I just didn't get it. Like, why don't you want to light the world on fire? What do you mean you don't want to crush it and grow? And there's not, I mean, you got to have, what did Ronald Reagan said something about, you got to have somebody sweeps the streets. Like you have to.
You do. Yeah.
Otherwise,
we can't
the streets are dirty.
We can't all own businesses.
Right.
Yep.
So once I got here back to Florida, the boredom started to set in, and really, again, it gave me the opportunity to build like really cool systems and start to understand. And really, a lot of what I did during that time was learn and study. And then I thought, well, I want to learn plumbing because it was a really good vertical to what we were doing. I mean, technically we were touching water. So, I mean, plumbing.
Yep.
And there was a drain to some of the stuff we did. So we started doing plumbing here. And again, I'm not a technician. So it was very much the business side of it, how to operate it, how to hire the right people, how to find the right people, how to build it all, right? And at first I tried to duplicate what I had with my other business because it worked. Well, you can't do that in plumbing because there's licensing, at least here in Florida. Some places you may be able to do it, but I needed guys to be employees. I needed them to be on the team. I needed them to be in uniform. I needed them, obviously you want them to show up the same way every time as best you can get them to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So there's like all these things you have to do. And so we started growing a plumbing company here. And this market is a unique market.
It's different.
And it's weird because, as a coach, you hear people like, you don't know my market. You're like, people are people. And that is true to some extent.
Yep.
Our area is just a little different. And the reason that is you've got people that have lived here forever and you have a lot of military.
Yep.
And so it's just a little different. Doesn't mean it's bad, doesn't mean whatever, but we grew quickly with the plumbing company. Like we grew fast.
And this was like, how old are you? And
at this point I was probably 34. We'll call it 34.
Okay.
What the heck?
And this is like 2000 what?
I don't know. What year is it now?
25.
25. I'm 46.
So forever ago.
Feels like it. Yeah.
Probably feels like yesterday.
That, I don't know. There's some chap, my as I think about time, it's always in relation to my kids and where they were in their life period. Yep. Like, was Zach in lacrosse at that point or was he doing something else?
I think of time in like 2008 housing crisis and then before or after COVID.
Okay.
That's kind of how I think about it.
So 2008, I was hot and heavy with the businesses. Speaking of that, when the whole housing crash happened, and man, some crazy lessons were learned. I can remember calling the bank because we did have some. At this point, we had some bigger vehicles, and just saying like, "Hey, you want to come pick them up? You bring them to you? Like, this is new. I don't know how this works."
That was in the appliance install business.
Yeah. That was the appliance install business. So, so we started plumbing, we started growing, and again, I went back to my roots, which is the big box retailers. I know that business. Yeah, I know that business model, but I didn't want to do the appliance side of it this time. I only wanted to do the plumbing side of it. So that's what I did. Started doing it, negotiated where we could do our own pricing, so we could channel how, all the things that I was learning and trying to teach guys, they were able to do on every job. Yeah. We did a lot of the warranty stuff here, a lot of warranty companies. Again, there's people that are like, can't make any money on warranty companies. Yep. Let me tell you, I got a buddy of mine who's got a probably $45 million business, and that is all they do. But again, it's just like anything else. There's a system to it, and there's a model, and you cannot run it the same way you do a retail style business, right? No. You just can't do it.
And you should not, in my opinion, you should pick one or the other. Go all in on one.
100%. And that's what I learned is I was doing both. And it was a challenge because guys were feeling like they had to shift gears. Right. But we got really good at upselling on the warranty style stuff. But eventually we were like at a point where we were like, we either have to cut that out or we've got to have separate techs.
Yeah.
So really what that became is our training ground.
Gotcha.
I don't do warranty work anymore, so they're not going to fire me now, but that's literally the new guys. So part of growing the plumbing company is we just started training them. And I
like
came
training non-plumbers into plumbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
because you can do that here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
In Alaska, we can't do that.
Yeah. You got to have, even in Alabama across the way, like the licensing is very difficult. Yeah. But here it's better.
It's awesome.
We'll say it's better.
I think it's awesome.
And so I came in one day and my general manager, and I told him, I said, we're not hiring another plumber. Don't hire him. And he's like, we're a plumbing company. I was like, that's where we disagree. We're not a plumbing company. We're a customer service business. That just happens to be the widget that we do. We're not hiring anymore. But I'm going to train them. And now my general manager was like, he's been my best friend since we were kids. Mm-hmm. And basically looked at me, he's like, you've lost your mind. I'm like, I can do it. Mm-hmm. He's like, you don't even know how to do it. It's like, I've been with you and seen you do some plumbing work.
Yeah.
So I built like this 6-week program, and the whole purpose was to take guys from not knowing anything to generate. And at that point, our number that we wanted was about $25,000 per truck. Mm-hmm. And that's warranty work too. Mm-hmm. And we just started rolling that out. And all of a sudden, we really started to grow because now we were separating the businesses into two separate parts of it.
So was this like a video style, like a video training program?
It was both. So my logic on the training was, if I spend 2 days with somebody with a toilet,
yeah,
and at the end of the 2 days, they don't know everything about a toilet,
yep,
they probably should find another job.
Yep, agreed.
There's not that many parts to a toilet. I'm not even a technical guy. I can tell you about a toilet.
Yep.
So that was really the whole premise of it, right? Like, as I looked at, because a lot of companies, they go, oh man, guys got to be in a truck for like 50, 1,100 years before they can know all the plumbing. Well, sure, there's some complicated plumbing, but if you really take your jobs and you break them down, I promise you 80% of them are probably going to be 5 or 6 calls, right? Yep. Toilets, water heaters, clogs, faucets. I feel like I'm forgetting one, a big one. But anyways, you get my point.
I do.
It's going to be just a simple couple of things.
Yep.
Now,
especially down here.
We do Mickey Mouse plumbing here.
It totally.
Like,
nothing
people are like,
freezes.
oh, we have to sure things up. I'm like, sure what up? Like, you just kick the beach sand out of the way and there you go. Sewer line replacement.
Yeah, exactly.
Super easy. No big deal. So we started doing that. We started growing. And then our largest competitor here in town was like, hey, you should sell me the business. Mm-hmm. I was like, it's not for sale. He's like, it's for sale. It was for sale.
Yeah, everything's for sale. Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yep.
Which is great. It was really good timing when we did that. At this point in my career, I was actually not very involved in the day-to-day business. I was doing a lot of speaking events. I was doing a lot of training for other companies. Mm-hmm. And that's really where my passion was anyways, not necessarily the day-to-day. I'm really good and enjoy the building and the growing and the building the structures. I'm not the dude you want in your business running the day-to-day every single day. That monotony is not
me neither
for me.
That's been my biggest struggle with Dude Wash. I just want to tell somebody what to do.
Right.
I don't want to do any of it. I'm actually really bad at like actually doing anything. So,
and you know, for a lot of years, I thought there was something wrong with me for that. Mm-hmm. But then I realized, like, no, I just need to find somebody who enjoys doing that. There's people that do.
Yep.
Give them the tools they need, give them what a win looks like, and then get the hell out of their way.
Yep.
Let them do their job,
and
then don't bother them unless, you know, you're supporting them or, you know, something like that. But, you know, don't micromanage them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we ended up selling that business, and I really was just in dad mode for a couple of years. It was great. We, you know, my kids at that point were like middle school.
Do you mind sharing like how much you were doing in revenue?
That business was about $5.5 million in revenue.
Cool.
Actually, I think the last year we might have been at 6.
Was it producing decent net profits for you?
Yeah, we were about 20.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
And for warranty work and retail work, we were pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, that most people say you can't make any money at.
Right, exactly. I'm like, you want to go hang out at my house in the water and talk about, maybe get on the boat and go take a ride and talk about how we can't make any money doing it?
Yep.
But yeah, so when we sold that business, it was a really good time. My kids were middle school, and I was able to just focus on dad mode for a little while.
Cool.
Part of the challenge being an entrepreneur a lot of times is work-life balance.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at that.
Same here.
Part of that's because I love what I do.
Same here.
So it's like people are like, oh, well, you want to go play golf? I mean, I like the idea of golf.
Yep.
I'm good for about 9 holes. 18, I get anxious because I'm like, I've got stuff I need to do. Can't be on a golf course for 5 hours.
Yep.
And then if you're drinking on top of that, it's a whole different can of worms.
Oh yeah, no thanks.
So anyway, I got kind of back in that mode of a little bit of bored entrepreneur again. And I forgot a couple of steps, but I had bought like a restoration company at this point that I owned and was running. I still had that at this point.
Did you buy that after the sale?
No, I bought it. I bought it when I had the plumbing company, just because the guy who was selling it was having a hard time getting leads. And I'm like, well, I got 20 lead generators sitting here in my plumbing trucks that can make it happen. So when I sold the plumbing business, I didn't actually sell the restoration business, but I had a really good general manager who ran it, and I didn't have too much to do with that. And I bought a building in Navarre to house that business and do whatever, I don't know, cool stuff, because there wasn't anything for rent at this point. And the business that I sold, I had a mentor that said, all right, we're going to do an exercise where if you were to do this again, who would you bring back on the bus with you? Right? Because that's, from a hiring and recruiting standpoint, you should always be asking yourself, like, if I knew what I know now, would I rehire that person?
Yeah.
And you really need to do that when it's like review time and they're like, boss man needs more money. Like, that's the time to be thinking about, would I rehire them right now if I knew that kind of stuff?
Yep.
And I actually did the extra. Well, the first thing my wife and I said was, we're good. Like, no, thank you. We're not going to do that again.
Never again?
That's what we said. Yeah. That's what we said.
And you still own the business in Atlanta?
Yeah. Still own the business
still
in
kicking
Atlanta.
out decent money for you.
Oh, yeah.
You just sold a business for probably a decent chunk of change.
Pretty decent chunk.
Sitting pretty happy.
We're in and my wife being, from an accounting background, we're very fortunate in all that and managed well.
Gotcha.
So we sold the business here. I forgot where we were in the story now.
You sold the plumbing business, had the restoration business, told your mentor you would never, ever.
There might have been 5 evers. I don't know.
So never, ever start another plumbing business.
So the guy who was my service manager for the other business that I sold, he had started a small plumbing company, and he was looking for a place. He was like, I'm going to grow a little bit. And so he ended up renting space for me. And I think it probably took he and I about, I'm going to say 4 weeks to have a whole business plan laid out. And so part of the deal was 5-year exit. I want to go from 0 to 10 million in 3 years. And I want, we kind of went through our, like, what do we want this time different? I will say the first business that I had, I was a very rigid person. And by nature, I'm not a rigid guy. But I did feel like a lot of times that was the way to get shit done, was like, be rigid. And I, this time I was like, I want to have more fun. I want to have a better time. I want to enjoy it more than I did the other one. Yeah. And so we sat down at a tiki bar and started drawing stuff up. And then we ended up, that's how our trucks are wrapped, like tiki. My wife says tiki huts.
There you go.
But it's a tiki bar. So we built the whole business around that. And we just, because we went to our wives and my wife's like, no.
Yep.
I'm like, really? She's like, no. I'm like, 5-year exit plan.
Do you remember how fun it was?
Yeah.
Is that what you told her?
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is the thing that I missed about the business that it was unexpected for me to miss. I'm going to say team, but really what I mean is there's something really cool about you take somebody who doesn't have a lot of direction. They've not had any kind of personal development introduced into their life. And then you introduce these things to them, and then you watch them implement, and then you watch them grow, and then you watch them go from having no money, broke, paycheck to paycheck, to buying a house. Like, there's just something really cool about that. And I missed that a lot.
I absolutely agree with you.
I missed that a lot. So, anyways, reluctantly, my wife agreed.
Nice.
And I was like, let's go. Let's do this. And we went wide open.
Cool.
And we sold the business 38 months after we started it.
So you say wide open. What does that mean?
Trucks, people, like we were on a goal to go 0 to 10 million in 3 years. And you know this market, it's not Atlanta, it's not LA, it's not Dallas.
What was like step one? Like, did you go buy 10 trucks, 20 trucks, 30
I
trucks?
think we started with 8.
8 trucks?
Yeah. Well, the first thing we did was we called the 7 people that I put on that list of who would you bring back. And we said, hey, we're getting the band back together. You interested? Every one of them said, yep, come on.
And this was how many years later?
This was the day my non-compete ended.
Gotcha.
Like actually the day after my non-compete ended because my non-compete was on a Sunday. So,
which was how many years?
I think it was 4.
4 years.
Yeah, I think it was 4 years. I don't know, 4 or 5, whatever it was. But yeah, it was the day after the non-compete ended because we had to delay all of that a week for that to happen. I was like, well, so much for that, not ever doing that again.
Yeah.
So.
And the guy who bought your plumbing business, was it just some dude or it was
the first one or the one now?
The first one.
The first one was no, it was a local large franchise owner,
Gotcha.
The largest franchise owner.
Gotcha.
I don't want to say their name, but I'm sure you know who they are.
So he probably thought you had it planned the whole time to come back in and nab your people out?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
The guy that I sold the business to, super good dude. Really like the guy. He actually has now sold and is on to other things too. He had he was a $100 million. He had lots of locations for that franchise. So he's a big operation.
Cool.
I don't know. I think buying me was more of a get me out of the way.
Yeah.
Like it was like
I gotcha.
something on my leg.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't get into this market right here because we were just dominating it. And it was probably easier for him. It was like, I'll just buy you.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep.
Now the business that we just sold, we partnered with a private equity group, Leap Partners. And that's been different than what I expected. It's been better than I expected, to be honest with you.
Yep.
You hear a lot of stuff about private equity now. It's all over the place now.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, and
it's like the cool new thing.
Well, and you hear about I guess, but you hear horror stories about coming in and ripping the business apart, and again, keep in mind when we did this deal with Leap, we weren't for sale. We were not.
You had what?
I had a 5-year plan.
Yeah, you had 2 more years.
I had 2 more years. Yeah. And as you're growing a business that rapidly, EBITDA or profitability is not your priority. It's growth, it's scale. And, so, we had a lot of people call like most other companies do. And I was like, I had like this whole pitch because I had so many calls and emails like, well, I appreciate the opportunity, but 36 months into this deal, we wouldn't sell before 5 years because now we're going to focus on the profitability where before we were focused on the growth and the domination. And really the partnering with Leap ended up being the best of both worlds where we were able to continue that growth and scale and still sell it at what we wanted to sell it for.
Yeah.
Right. So
a no-brainer at that point.
And again, it was good for the team. They've all had growth opportunities. They have, things for them to look forward to. And now they're part of a much bigger company. So it's been a win. And plus those guys they're pretty salt of the earth guys. I like those.
That's
guys.
cool.
Yeah.
So you went from 0 to what in 36 months?
We were just short of 8.
Just short of 8.
Just
so
short of 8
almost
million.
made your 10 million goal.
Almost.
What stopped you from getting your 10 million goal?
During COVID, getting trucks was almost impossible.
Yep.
In our market here, we had our giant bridge that got knocked out from the hurricane.
Yeah. Yep.
So we weren't able to even come over to Pensacola, which is our largest market.
Right.
And then the other one that was really unexpected was we couldn't even get tablets because the chip shortage. Couldn't get tablets.
Yep.
So, let's be honest, 0 to 10 million is
That's a big goal.
It's a big goal.
Years.
And it's a tough goal. And I'm very much a driver. I'm very much a motive. Like, let's go, let's do this. What do you need from me? I'm here to help support. But it's hard to have employees that come in every day and all they're hearing about is growth. It's hard for them to settle.
Yeah.
And really it got to the point where I have an amazing, like my business partner is awesome. And we're such opposites that it really works out well. And, every month we do meetings and we cook for the guys and we talk about, what we got going on and we share wins. And every month was like best month ever, best month ever, best month ever. And finally he's like, dude, they don't, like, you're wearing them out.
Yeah.
Like, that is not why they're here.
Yeah.
They're here for the culture, the community, the breakfast we're about to make. They want to have fun here. We got to be careful about driving it. And I was like, well, that's why you're the leader. So you
let you do your thing.
But it was fun, man. It was a lot of fun. And they've continued to grow. So, it's nice having now having the partnership that we do. What's great is now when we need new stuff, it's not coming out of my pocket.
There you go. Yep.
So that, you're kind of separating out some of the liabilities that you have. Cause there is, you get 20, 30 trucks on the road and it is really cool to be standing at a gas station or whatever, or you're driving down the road and 3 of them pass you. That is a really cool feeling. But then at the same time, every billboard and every TV commercial is about, did a big truck hit you? Call me right now. We can sue them for everything they're worth. And the truth is that's a real thing. Like, whether you win or not, like, those are contingency attorneys. They don't have anything to lose but time, but they can suck down so much of your time that you can spend whatever. So
it's inevitable too.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no question it's going to happen. And the truth is, drivers, the other day I was going somewhere. Oh, we were going up to Alabama road trip, and it was like every car we passed, they were looking down at their phones.
Yeah.
Like, that's just part of it. So until self-driving cars take over, it's going to get worse.
Probably.
Because those are also the guys driving the vehicles.
I'm surprised at how many vehicle wrecks there are here in Pensacola. Like,
so they call it Bloody 98.
Yeah, in Alaska it makes sense. It's icy, snow sucking you in the ditch. You're all over the road, right?
But here you've been hanging out at the beach all day.
Here you've been hanging out at the beach all day.
Sunburn, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, people are looking down at their phones driving, and man, there's wrecks everywhere. It's wild.
Yeah.
Blows my mind. There's more wrecks here than in Alaska.
Yeah, well, part of that is that this area has grown so much.
Yeah.
And like a lot of areas, there wasn't much vision to it. It was like, cool, we'll just give permits for these 80,000 additional houses and not think about where are they going to go, where are they going to drive, where they, go out to Destin. It's as awesome as Destin can be during the summer. It's miserable.
Dude, yeah.
But there's two lanes.
You served Destin with your plumbing business, right?
We have an office here and one in Panama City Beach.
Gotcha. Okay. How does the traffic in Destin in the summertime affect your service work?
We're very careful about where we go when.
Gotcha.
Right? So they know like certain times when to go where. Like, you can get over to Destin, but you got to do it before 9:30 in the morning. If you go after 9:30, you're just going to sit. So that has to be the first call of the day.
Gotcha.
Certain times on Pensacola Beach, like, you just don't go. You don't go on Blue Angel weekend. I don't care what your problem is. We're not coming.
Mardi
Gras is another one, right? Like, there's just certain times of the year you don't, any holiday, we don't go to the beach.
Yep.
Or if you do have to, you would come around on the Navarre side and down that way, and then you charge accordingly for it.
Right.
Because that's a lot of time that
it's a bunch of time.
I like customers a lot, but I'm not going to pay. I'm not in this thing to not make money.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we're going to take advantage of people.
Yep.
But there's I'm not going to pay a guy
charge more than it costs. That's the whole deal.
I appreciate you buying your house on the beach and all.
Yeah.
And calling me on a Sunday, 4th of July weekend. But we're,
yeah.
If a guy's going to sit in traffic for 5-6 hours, which he is, I'm going to have to charge you. And
yeah. So in your latest business was Paradise Home Service, right?
Yeah.
And so in that business, did you follow the same model of home warranty? And
no.
Did you start doing the Home Depots and the Lowe's?
We did do Home Depot, not Lowe's.
How come?
Because with Home Depot, their program doesn't mess with pricing. So they don't tell us what to do for pricing.
Gotcha.
Lowe's, at least in this area, does. I know every area is a little bit different how they operate, but with us, with Home Depot here, if we're doing a water heater or an AC system, they don't mess with us about price. They don't dictate what our pricing is.
And so when they sell a water heater, they recommend you to install it.
No. So if they call 1-800 Home Depot or go online or even go in the store, the associate should say, "What do you really want to pick this up? Or you want us to bring it out and take care of it for you?" So,
gotcha.
They don't need to buy anything from the stores.
Gotcha.
Because we have everything in the warehouse and in the truck, so we go straight to the house. That was the other thing that used to be a big issue with Lowe's, is that we had to go to the store to pick up everything. That's a lot of time that you can burn messing with that.
And for Home Depot, they've got extra warehouse space in your shop now.
They do,
basically, in your trucks and your shop.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works out great for them. It comes straight from Ream by the tractor trailer load. And there's a lot of times they don't have stuff like, "You got it?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're putting it in."
Yeah. Perfect.
I don't have it for your retail store.
And
but
so,
it's been a good business.
So then you go to the homeowners, you go to their house, they're buying the water heater from Home Depot.
No, it all is seamless. It all comes from us, just the same as if they're a retail customer.
And then do you just send the money back to Home Depot?
Yeah,
I've never done a Home Depot anything.
So the way it works is from a customer end, it all looks the same, but we have a different payment processing. So when they pay, it runs through a different process but the customer doesn't really know.
Right.
And then there's like an extra form they sign.
Gotcha.
And then what happens is then they pay us. So it goes to them, then they pay us.
Gotcha.
Yep.
How long is that payment period?
7 days at the most.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. I mean, you got to think about it. You know, the other factor that that I think most people miss when they look at warranty work and they look at some of these big box retailers is you don't have a customer acquisition cost.
Yeah, zero.
And
today
that's a big chunk.
It's a big deal nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, people spend 15, 20. I've seen people spend more than 20%.
Also, you get to sell that customer membership and probably they're going to use you again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because now they're in our database. We can market to them. We can talk about, specials that we have.
Yeah.
With the technology the way it is now, there's a lot of that we can just kind of, automate where they're getting emails and on our list and, because really they don't know, and we don't care to use your Home Depot card. They run specials all the time for 0% for 36 months. That doesn't cost us anything. Wear it out. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Because if we do it on our end, it could cost a big chunk again. Yeah. So any of that special promotion that they run doesn't cost us anything. We can still use it.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. It's a good, it is not easy to get into. I know a lot of people call me about getting into Home Depot. I'm like, it's not really, it's a marathon and you gotta play the game a little bit, but it is good.
Cool. So you're obviously fairly successful at home service.
Yep.
What would you say your secret is? What's the thing that you think you've done the best at?
That's a good question. I think that I am really good at hiring people that are smarter than me, giving them what the expectations are, and then not bothering them.
And so what's your secret for getting the right person?
Never do this one interview hire craziness.
Yeah.
The truth is anytime somebody comes in for an interview, you're generally going to get their best self. Right. And they're going to tell you whatever you want to hear. And especially the guys that are like professional interviewers, right? Like, the guys that have worked for every company in town and this town and that town. They can come in and tell you all the things. Take a little bit of time and probe a little bit. It's amazing to me how many people don't do reference checks.
Yeah.
Something as simple as, oh man, I appreciate you giving me these references. Do you mind setting up a meeting between me and these people so I can connect with them? Like just that little bit. Now all of a sudden they're going to have to decide, is that really a reference or is that not a reference?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know that person. Yeah. Set up a meeting with them. Right. So, using tools like disc analysis, right? I think there's a lot of power to that. Not that there's a pass or fail, but it certainly gives you the tools that it kind of lets you understand how they communicate and how they like to communicate with, right? So, for instance, if somebody's not very detail oriented, you probably don't want them in the accounting department.
Right. Yep.
But if they're, if they're a really high eye and they're a big influencer and they like people, they're probably going to be pretty good at sales, right? So there's some different things that you can do. Again, all these things are just tools in your toolbox. But the other big thing is trust your gut.
Yeah.
Trust it.
Yep.
And when you hire them, make sure that you've got something that looks like an onboarding process.
Yep.
That doesn't have to be overcomplicated.
Yep.
But you got to check in with them. You got to check in with them on a regular basis. Not here's the keys, or worse, hey, ride with Tommy. He's going to teach you how we do things here.
Yep.
Well, what you don't know is Tommy's getting drunk at 10:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? Doing side work. Like there's all these things that sometimes you don't know. And that's a horrible story. And
is that a true story?
I mean, yeah. I mean, sure. There's been times where, we're like, hey, go ride with Tommy. And then, So Tommy's not real though.
Okay.
Made that name up. But, just taking the time to just be steady, get the questions answered that you want from the applicant, and use your gut. When you get them in, check in regularly. If you get a feeling that they're out, address. Here's the other thing. People don't address the flags, right? So they'll go, there's something there I'm a little worried about, but man, we're so desperate.
Yeah.
I think I'll overlook it.
Yep. And when you say address it, how would you address it?
I would say, hey, here's something I'm concerned about. Hey, as I'm looking at the disc tests and I'm looking at your application, typically they don't have resumes, but right. So you're looking at it. I would just say, hey, look, here's some of my concerns that I have.
Yeah.
What's your response to that?
Yeah.
Just be head on about it.
Yeah.
Don't fart around about it. Just say what it is you got going on.
Yeah.
And if it's a red flag, I mean, I tell people like, here's a yellow flag, here's a red flag. Red flags typically is a DQ thing. If you are telling me that I'm totally off on this, that's fine. Like we just met, this is from the information that I've gotten.
Right.
But data's usually not wrong.
Right. So what are some, like you're hiring some plumbing technicians. What are some flags to you?
That they've worked a lot of different places. That would be one.
Okay.
Look at their vehicle they show up in. Did they pull up in your driveway in the competitor's van? That's probably a flag.
Yep.
And I would address that.
Yep.
If they don't pull up in the van and they pull up in their personal vehicle, make sure somebody goes and takes a peek at it real quick. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So if your car looks like trash and there's whatever hanging out the door and you open the door and stuff falls out, you can bet that's what your van's going to look like 100%. So, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's another one. Yeah, I ask them things, depending on where they've worked, ask them questions like, what is your average ticket? Mm-hmm. What do you generally generate in a month?
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing to offer to customers? What do you know about water filtration systems?
Yep.
How do you feel about option selling? Ask them the question up front. If they're like, I think it's wrong. I think it's taking care. I think it's taking advantage of a customer if you offer options. Well, then they're probably not going to be, depending on your business, they might not be a good fit for you. So go ahead and just, hey, I appreciate it. That's a big part of what we do.
Yep.
We believe that in order to service a customer correctly, you have to give them options. So if that's not something you want to do, I get it. I appreciate it, but probably going to have to pass for now.
So then let's say you hire these people and then you've run them through an onboarding process. They're in training. How quickly are you going from we have a problem, we're trying to deal with it, to this isn't going to work? Yeah.
So one of the big things we've done, or I've done in our businesses in the past that have made a big shift is just doing one-to-ones. Just on a regular basis. I think a perfect way to do it is every 2 weeks. I know that's a lot for some people because a lot of businesses, depending on where you are in your journey, you may not have any middle management. Right. So that may be tough, but at least once a month, do one-to-one check-ins, sit down with them, find out what's going on. But if they're new, that needs to be happening pretty much every day. Like you can pace it out to where, okay, for the first 2 weeks, we're going to meet every day. And that sounds like a lot, but it's 15 minutes. Hey, how'd yesterday go? What did you learn? What did you like? What did you not like? Any red flags you saw? And then you slowly will start to back it up. But I'm one that believes in if there's a problem, just go ahead and address it.
Yeah.
It's not going away.
No.
Like no one's ever ignored a problem and magically it's gone away. So go ahead and hit it right on top of the head.
Usually becomes a bigger problem.
It
in
usually,
my experience. Yeah.
And depending on what the problem is, it could become a bigger problem as a cancer to the rest of your company as well. So,
yes,
but yeah, one-to-ones I think is a really big thing to really connect with your people and your team and find out where their head's at. And you can have 2 people. Like this is not you got to have 100 employees to do this. You can have 2 employees. They deserve a couple of minutes of your time to sit down and figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Do you dig into their personal lives at all?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was telling somebody the other day, I can remember specifically when we had the restaurant, I remember telling people like, hang your crap at the door. When you come in, we don't care.
I remember you telling me that.
You know, that's not my problem. And that is like embarrassing now. I mean, it's not because I'm telling the story, but that's a crappy way to lead anybody. Like who wants to work for that guy? Yeah. Nobody. Nope. So the challenge is if you don't know anything about your people, how can you lead them? Because the truth is you can give your people all the goals you've got. They don't care.
No.
They care about their goals.
Yep.
So as a leader, you have to make sure that you're aligning your why and your goals with theirs.
Yep.
Then magic happens.
Yep.
Because if you're just like trying to get them to row down this road and they're like, nah, I'm out. That's when people leave for $1 more.
I've experienced that firsthand. When I was growing Prospector, there were guys that were excited that jumped on board with me. And once we got to a certain point where we had really good market saturation and growth kind of slowed down, they started getting bored. Yep. And then we experienced bad attitudes, and I'm like, what's going on with these guys? Their revenue's slipping, their sales are slipping, they're getting attitudes with the CSRs in the office. And they didn't have any big goal in front of them. They weren't pushing towards anything. Once we learned, we sat down and it was funny because we had to convince them that they wanted to make more money. They didn't believe. They would say, well, money doesn't mean everything. I'm like, sure. And they'd say, money doesn't make you happy. And I'd say, sure, but money sure buys a lot of stuff that makes you happy.
Poverty doesn't buy squat.
Poverty doesn't buy nothing.
Yeah.
And it sure makes you pretty unhappy. I can tell you that right now. And once we got them to believe that, we had to break through these limiting beliefs that they had, put a commission structure in place, show them how it's possible to actually earn a commission.
Right.
Because they didn't even believe that in the beginning. And then start working on them with what their goals were. So we started learning like, hey, you want to buy a house? Cool. Come into my office this Monday morning. We're going to walk through how you can, what do you need to buy a house?
Right.
And how fast you can get that money. And we'll actually pull up your KPIs and we'll show you the exact thing you need to be working on to make that happen. And I'll help hold you accountable to that. Man, when we figured that out, it was the sky's the limit.
And then you tell their spouse about it.
That's one we never got into.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Then you let the spouse know what's going on behind the scenes about that too. Because, I mean, a perfect example. I mean, that's how you, WIIFM, right? Like what's in it for me? It's everybody's favorite radio station.
Yep.
And it is. See, so you aligned your why and your win, because if they win, you win.
You win. Yep.
You're like, everybody wins. This is great. Yep. And then those people don't leave for $1.
No, because they're winning big time.
Because they're winning.
Yeah. Like we had a guy last year, he bought a Ferrari.
Yeah.
A technician in Alaska.
That seems not practical, but whatever.
It's not at all. But he's making $280K a year. He's a single dude. His house is paid for. He's like, whatever. It's funny stuff to me, but yeah.
So I met a guy, total side story. Met a guy in Jacksonville who was a plumber. And he was a friend of a friend. And he pulled up. We were having lunch somewhere, and he pulled up in his Ferrari. And I'd said something about it because he got out looking like a tech. And that's what he drove. He literally walked over and opened it and had his tools.
That's hilarious.
Whatever. But anyways, funny story.
So in your last business, I'm going to ask you a few more questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Fire away.
When you ran that, because you had plumbing, electrical, HVAC, correct?
Plumbing and HVAC.
Just plumbing and HVAC. Okay. So then did you do, what kind of model was it? Was it a sales tech model? Was it what'd you have going on?
So let me tell you how we got in the HVAC business.
Okay.
So when we started the business, we had a 5-year goal.
Okay.
And then inside that 5-year goal, we had some other sub goals.
Okay.
And one of them was...
And you actually sat down and laid this all out on paper.
If it's not written, it's not real. So
Okay.
we wrote it all out.
And when you write it down, are you writing like dollar amounts and
that
kind of stuff? Yep.
So I believe that you should have 2 visions.
Okay.
You should have a vision that you share with your team.
Okay.
And then a vision that's probably just for you and maybe your partners or your leadership team that's a little bit bigger than what they care to see, right? Sometimes it's hard for people to grasp big, like we're dealing with a lot of money here, which is why sometimes texts are like, well, they make all the money. And it's like, no, if I keep, like most companies in our industry, they keep like 5%.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like who does that? Like, don't do that.
I have had way bigger companies than mine call me for help. And I'm like, why are you calling me for help? And then we dig in and they're at like 3% net. I'm like, wow. And these are 30, 50, $60 million shops running at 3% net. Granted, they have some money left over at the end of the year, but for the risk that they're putting in,
nope,
not worth it.
It is not worth it.
No freaking way. Anyway, so you had 2 different visions. One for non-leadership, one
that's hanging on the wall at the office, along with core values.
Okay.
And then the one for our team, which was, we didn't actually say the word on it, sell in 5 years. That was more for just my partners and I. But one of the things was we had till December 31st of the year, and it was 2 years after we launched, to get into HVAC. And we didn't have a plan. None of us know HVAC, but that was at the start. That's why we called it Paradise Home Services.
Gotcha.
We started out just plumbing. It was like, all right, that's the plan. We're going to get into HVAC. We don't know how we're going to do it.
Yep.
And none of that matters. I think that's the problem that most people have when they're working on vision stuff is they get so bogged down in the details and the minutia. My opinion is it doesn't matter. If that's what you want, write it down and look at it every day.
Figure out how to get there.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Or if you have to take it off, that's fine too. Now you have to have some like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna take that off.
Yep.
And you have to kind of have your self accountability of no, I don't. I've decided I don't want that. Right.
Gotcha.
And then we had the hurricane that hit here, and it knocked the bridge down, and there was just all kinds of craziness. And I remember my partner and I sitting down, and we were talking specifically about, do we need to adjust this goal? Like, do we need to adjust this goal and adjust the vision to where we're not in the HVAC space by December 31st. And I was like, I'm just not that guy. Like, I think we can do it. And at this point, it was probably like August. So we were butting up against to where if we were going to do it, we had to do it, or we had to move the date.
Right.
I didn't want to move the date. Like, I don't want to move the date. I don't move any of it. And,
that's going to affect your 10 million in 3 years.
It could greatly affect it. Right. So I got a random call on a Saturday from a guy who's like, hey, I got an HVAC business that's for sale, and here's the deal with it. And I was like, great. When can I see it?
How did he know to call you?
He was a broker, so I know a lot of brokers in town.
Gotcha.
And
is that just through networking?
Yeah.
Being here for so long?
Yeah, just networking.
Yeah. You're a fairly good, you're a better networker than I am.
I think everybody should know everybody. It just makes
it way easier.
It really does.
Like if I got a question, I'm going to call you.
Well, and think about it. Like, I've introduced you to several people. You've introduced me to several people. So, the world's not that.
It's not that
especially
big.
when you're talking about in the trades.
Yeah,
like it gets really small. So anyway, so I went up on like a Monday.
Okay.
Looked at this business, and we put an offer on it. I want to say by like Wednesday. That Wednesday, and we closed on it like the following Friday.
Nice.
Like record speed.
Yeah.
And we didn't even have a license at that point. Like we were part of his license was the deal. And but I was like, we hit our goal. Like that was
cool.
Now I will say this. What's interesting is I completely underestimated the difference between HVAC and plumbing.
Yeah.
Total difference. I was not really expecting that. So it took us longer to get our feet underneath us than what we anticipated.
Why? What do you see the major differences as?
Well, we didn't have anybody who really knew the trade, right? So, for instance, with plumbing, we've got lots of people that know plumbing, so it's very easy to gauge if something's not going right or not, right? So if a guy's putting in a water heater and he's at 2.5 hours and you have it marked in the book for 2 hours, you may not be totally concerned, but you're going to kind of keep an eye on it.
Yep.
Well, if you don't know, and now it's taken 8, 9, 10 hours to put an HVAC system in, and you're like, what, from everything I've researched says you take 4 or 5 or 3 or whatever. I think that's really what held us back, is that side of the trade, not having someone on the team that like knew it. And originally when we bought the company, the guy we bought it from was going to stay on for a short period of time, 60, 90 days. And actually my plan with him was, like I talked about the plumbing school that I built, like the plumbing training, I wanted to do the exact same thing in HVAC. Like, let's do it. And after about 3 days, I was like, you know what, man, you should just, we're good. We're good.
Just didn't have what it took to make the training.
It was going to be more work than I was ready to put in at that moment.
Yeah.
Hindsight, I probably should have bared it out and done it, but I didn't. And I think that's probably held us back a little bit. But then once we got a solid leader for that side of the business, you definitely could see a difference in it. So. And
how'd you go about doing that? Just hire somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, we went through probably 3, and then I started figuring. And even techs, like if you don't know, if you know the trade, if you know plumbing, someone comes in, you can ask a very simple technical question, and they can, you can know really quickly if they're, full of it or not.
Yep.
And so we had that problem with techs too, is they'd say the words. We're like, we've heard that buzzword. That sounds good. And so finally we just started putting in a little bit of, like, we put a board in there where it was like, cool, go wire that thermostat.
During the interview?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you can't wire the thermostat, then we don't have a position for you as a tech.
Yeah.
If you come in, you're like, I got 5 years experience and my yellow flag, or really ended up being my red flag from any technician that I would hear from on the HVAC side, was I can put in 2 systems in a day. And that was automatic. I was like, nope.
Automatic no. Red flag. Yep. Interesting.
Because the truth is, and I don't know, people say they do it. I don't know. I've not met anybody who does it that's not in new construction. New construction, you can do it.
Yeah.
We're not dealing with new construction.
No.
So, but yeah, so that made a big difference by having a leader in that role that could actually lead that department and really know what the heck was going on.
Yeah.
And know when to call somebody on their crap.
Yeah. It's the whole plumbing HVAC thing down here is way different than what I did in Alaska, because we did plumbing and heating.
Yeah.
Up there we've got oil-fired hydronic heating. And
we don't even know what that is here.
Yeah. Nobody does.
Yeah.
Maybe like New York, those northern states up there, they've still got it. Kind of northeast, they've still got it all over the place. They're pretty much gas now.
Yeah.
We're kind of some of the last of the Mohicans up there in Alaska, but tons of oil, and we don't differentiate between plumbing and heating.
Yeah.
There's guys who only do heating, but all plumbers do heating. And what ends up happening is we get all these heating companies that pop up and they hire $25 an hour employees, and they go ruin your heating system is basically what ends up happening. And so then we come in and we're, our employees make 3 times what this $25 an hour employee was making. And we come in and we install it properly, or we fix it. That's where our bread and butter really was.
Yeah.
It was fixing people's mistakes.
Yeah.
But we didn't have, we would take guys, we'd have to bring them in with zero knowledge of heating and get them to perform at a high level out in the field. It was not fun. It was very difficult. We did it. We did it in a short time frame.
And probably because you had an intentional plan.
For the most part.
So I think that when you slap somebody in a truck and you go through this whole OJT thing,
we did
that's
that.
when it takes longer versus just like shorten that gap by
we did that
focus
in the beginning.
On 1 or 2 things.
Yeah. We definitely did that in the beginning.
Yeah.
My whole growth of my business was I have no clue what I'm doing. I hired a CSR. I had no clue what to tell her to do. I said, here's the phone.
Yeah. Answer it.
Answer it. Tell me where to go, please. And it was the greatest moment of my life. I was incredibly blessed that she answered the phone very well, booked jobs at an incredible rate, and just owned that position. And then later on was able to train other people to take her place. Man, I lucked out in that one.
I mean, good people, that's the thing about good people.
That's been, the secret to my success thus far has been good people.
Yep.
It's that, and that's it.
Yep. And I think, when you hear people talk about systems and KPIs and stuff like that, that really is how you know if someone is doing a good job or how if they're a superstar versus, because I mean, think about it. There's times when you have, especially technicians, you're like, I think they're a superstar. They're out doing the thing. They're generating money. And then all of a sudden one day happens and it's like completely off the radar, off the cliff that their sales numbers have gone. You're like, what's the deal?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, usually that means there's side work happening. Just FYI, if anybody's got anybody that they're watching that, I would probably address that.
Side work or some sort of alcohol
or an addiction.
Yeah. So in your plumbing business, we never got to sales tech. Like, is everybody selling and installing their own work? Do you got sales guys that
we separate them? So we have the service techs, which the service techs also sell. And then they have a separate install teams.
Gotcha.
That was really pivotal in our growth.
Yeah.
Because, it's part of the problem is the guys that are really, really good technical technicians, they're usually not the most personable. They're not the ones that want to be customer facing. So if you take the ones that they can fix a little bit of stuff, but then they can have the sense to call somebody and not get themselves in trouble or sell them an upgrade, then you have the install team come in and do what they do.
Yeah. So how did you run that because I've never ran that. We always had, you sell it, you install it. And we mainly kept it that way because we had pretty across the board close rates, revenues, average tickets were pretty fairly even across everybody. We didn't really have anybody we could pull off and say, hey, you're so much better at this and you're so much better at this. We kind of lucked out, I guess, in that manner. So when you're did you run that model from the beginning?
Not from the beginning. We kind of toyed around with it at the beginning. We knew that's what we wanted to shift towards. So we were very careful when we were hiring to kind of know, okay, I think this guy could make a pretty good installer. Probably not the best customer facing on the initial sales, but we knew that at the beginning that was the model we wanted to take. And it did really well. So it kind of started out with one person. Like we had one person that we just kept them busy. And then we got to the point, another person. Because then you have the techs who, they don't want to do that. They would rather sell it.
Yeah.
Or do minor fixes.
And so are you just moving them into that role based on personality, or are you looking at specific KPIs?
No, we looked at specific KPIs for that. And usually guys they'll tell you. But again, you got to have one-to-ones to talk about, hey, listen, here's where the marker is. You're not hitting it. So what is it I can do to help you hit that mark? And sometimes it's like, I just can't get behind whatever initiative you're trying to do. But again, I think that comes down to doing one-to-ones and having KPIs for techs and addressing those things up front. There's a lot of times when they'll have technicians that'll underperform for months and months and months, and then they'll finally just get rid of them, or they'll lose a bunch of cash with them being on the team. When really the problem is you probably don't have them in the right seat on the bus.
Right.
And I think that's what we were focused on, is making sure that the right people were in the right seat.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I think it did really well for us. I liked the model. The techs liked the model. And very quickly it grew, because now you're ones that are closing really good rates, that are comfortable presenting options and talking about, water filtrations when they're selling a water heater or whatever. We were able to get them to focus on, we've got techs that sell, I think one sold probably $220,000 last month of plumbing.
Yeah.
Right? That's smoking, right? And then these other guys are just coming behind there putting it in. So you keep those guys, let them do their thing, and just keep the installers being the technical guys. It's where they like it anyways.
Yeah. So appointment-wise, are you scheduling these guys like your selling technicians, your sales service techs, we'll call them? How much time are you allowing them at a job? Is it time-based or is it skill-based? When do they decide how to pass it on to the install team?
So typically we kind of look at it from if it's more than 3 hours, we want to kick it to the install team.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But if it's 3 hours, or less, they'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Including drive time and sales process and all that kind of stuff.
No, 3 times it'd be like on the rent, like when they're on the wrench, if they're at the house working, if it's over 3. That's not an exact science because sometimes there's a water heater that needs to go in.
Yeah.
Well, the water heaters, sometimes those even get kicked to the install team versus the service guy.
Gotcha.
So they can keep moving.
Yeah. Keep selling stuff. Correct.
Keep selling it.
Gotcha. And that's what your dispatcher is determining out, and like who's determining who stays where?
Dispatcher does. Oh, yeah. They're the air traffic controller, that whole bad boy.
Yep. Okay.
They know everybody. They know what skill sets are what. And
did you split those roles between CSR dispatcher?
I mean, once we got to a certain size, yes.
Yep.
We were able to separate those out. For a long time, at the beginning we didn't. In the other company that we had, we didn't separate them out because it was a little bit more flatlined as far as there wasn't so many different services. With this one, we finally were able to, and that's made a big difference.
Yeah.
Because now they're just focused on that one.
Yeah.
And it's a different skill set.
It is.
Like it's one thing to be super bubbly nice on the phone.
Yep.
And there's another thing to be, because those people usually have a really hard time at rescheduling a customer when it's 150 degrees outside.
Yes.
They're like, I don't want to call this customer reschedule. A dispatcher has to have that weird kindness, but being okay with upsetting.
Yep.
That's the other thing about the HVAC side that I think we were not anticipating as much is, customers get bumped. That's just part of it. And if you got a 2-year-old system that is not working that we didn't install, and we've got a 25-year-old system that they got no cool.
Yep.
Sorry, you're getting bumped. That's just,
Yep. Chase the money. Yeah.
Well, and it only makes sense. Like, we'll get to you. We don't mind, but the priority is going to be, we're a business. It's not a charity. We're not.
Yeah. And are you guys trying to get to everybody like same day as much as possible?
For the most part, obviously Florida in the summer, that's not usually, it's not usually a thing.
Right.
Shoulder season, this time of year, usually same day, next day, somewhere like that. We don't ever run. I hear guys say, "Oh, we're 3 weeks out on." We've never done that. We would be recruiting, but again, I think we kind of always are recruiting.
Right.
We do it as a regular practice of the business, not oh crap, somebody left and now we got a hole. Now we got to fill it in.
Right.
Because that's when you mess up and hire.
Yep.
That guy.
Yep. I hear you.
That guy.
Totally. Did you guys ever get into call-by-call management at all?
We do some of it. I'm a huge fan of call-by-call. It's one of those things where it has to be handled correctly, because you got to be real careful with any kind of stuff. You could weaponize it and then turn guys off and make it not fun. I will say this, when we do them, typically we call them virtual ride-alongs, just because it doesn't feel so
management. Yeah. Yep.
Micromanaging.
Yeah.
But I am a huge fan. Typically new techs, they'll be on kind of a call-by-call virtual ride-along system for the first couple of months. And then if somebody's having any issues or slipping, then we'll do that as well. But from a business, it would be better to just run everybody under the whole system, the whole call-by-call management.
So what does that look like practically?
You got to have somebody that's all they do, and sometimes 2 somebodies that's all they do, or 3 somebodies.
I've never seen it in action ever. I've heard of it, and I'm like, this is a great idea because
it's a really good thing for, like, as you have older techs or they want to be out of the field, but they're really good at selling. It's a good opportunity. They can make good money doing it.
Do you pay them a commission?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you pay them a commission.
Yep.
There's some companies now, we have not ever done this, but during COVID, they were doing a lot of the online, like basically Zoom selling.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have kept it because it's great.
Yeah.
Living where we lived, COVID obviously affected everybody, but probably here affected us a little different than maybe most areas. People weren't
not so much
as worried about it.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, my AC's not working. I'm more worried about getting that fixed than anything else. So just come on, fix it.
Yeah. Yep.
Come on, put me in a new one.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. Well, Anything else you want to share? You got an event coming up.
Oh yeah, we do. We have an event. Kristen was just on a couple weeks ago. You guys were talking about it.
Yeah.
PowerProfitWorkshop.com. It's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to be here in Pensacola, May 15th and 16th.
Cool.
Actually, about 4 miles from here.
Yeah.
From your office.
Cool.
Should be cool, man. We got some great people that are going to be there. You're going to be there hanging out with us.
Yep.
Josh and Tersh that run Service Business Mastery podcast.
Yep. They're cool guys.
They got some new really cool AI stuff coming out. So they'll talk a little bit about that. Obviously my wife is hosting the event. She's an amazing teacher and makes numbers easy.
Cool.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Let's see who else we got. We got Levi Torres coming.
Who I don't know Levi.
Levi Torres, been a very good friend for a lot of years. He runs a company called High Five Plumbing out of Colorado.
Oh yeah, I've seen that brand. Yeah.
Dude, he does incredible with that thing.
Cool.
He has really, really grown that business. So him and his wife will be here to help. And so what's going to be cool is as we're doing that, this is really a workshop. This is going to be a roll up our sleeves. Let's get some work done.
Cool.
So there'll be people there to help. So whatever challenges people are having, man, we're going to be able to, they're going to leave with a plan on attack on how to be profitable at or implement whatever they're going to implement as soon as they get home.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it's not a hoorah event. It's a get some stuff done.
It's going to be, let's roll it. Big events are good for that, right? Like you have the big events and you go and it's like fire hose, like whoosh, fire hose. Yeah. And then you're like, I got a book full of stuff to do. And you got to pick one or two. And then you're like, oh crap, I won't be able to do that. So this is going to be less of that kind of fire hose and more of the, okay, now I've learned some new stuff that I can actually, we can go deep on topics.
Yeah.
Like big conferences usually wide, we'll be able to go deep and really help people move the needle on what's going on. So very excited. I know there's some people from the group that have already signed up that are going to be there. Ooh, that reminds me. I have a discount code.
Cool.
And I know my wife had one before.
We'll put a link in the description too. And then if you share that discount code, if you don't mind, we'll put it up as well.
Ready?
Yeah.
Wealthy for a discount. Now, being that I'm competitive, I want that discount code to generate more than my wife's discount code because it's different. I'm just saying.
Okay. So go sign up. It's going to be good.
Yeah. And
use discount code wealthy so Justin can win.
Yeah, don't use the other one. I don't even know what the other one was. But
yeah, we won't worry about the other one.
The other one's not important. It's this one.
Perfect.
But yeah, man, appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you got such a great community.
Yeah, it's cool.
And I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Shoot, yeah.